I love this series. I love this series. I love this series. I love this series. I know I say it a lot, but this series is just so good. I mean, it's just amazing how every week it amazes me with how entertained I can be from Rakugo. And this brings up some serious things in the topic of this episode, and that is Rakugo dying. And this is actually something that is rather important to this day and age, and I was impressed by the way it was kind of done in this episode. Now, it's been one of the main core themes, like the themes behind the scenes throughout this series, but it was kind of really out there in the open when it came to this episode. How Shin is saying Rakugo is dying. It needs to be changed. It needs to adapt to the times. And I like the way this topic was done in this episode. With how Shin was constantly saying, like, if we continue going down the old ways, like doing these old things, these old traditions, and not changing, trying not to change ourselves to make it different and more to where the new youngins can actually enjoy it, then it's going to fail, and eventually it's just going to fall apart, and nobody's really going to care much about it. And, I mean, we get to see examples of this, of how, you know, they can turn a knob, and then, like, some form of TV can turn on, which, you know, it's the age of television, and because television is coming around, the age of theaters will eventually slowly die off. Now, in our day and age, we know theaters are still around. People visit the theaters all the time. We go see Deadpool and stuff. Deadpool, fucking awesome movie, by the way. But people go see movies all the time, so we know the theater's technically not dead. But when it comes to actual stage plays, or, you know, probably Rakugo, it's probably lost a lot of popularity compared to how it was in the past, because there's new different forms of entertainment, like gaming, and then, you know, TV, and then, you know, computers, all sorts of stuff. There's many different forms of entertainment now that many people can choose from, and so Rakugo has probably fallen down that list in this day and age where we live in now. And so seeing what Shin is saying, it holds very true for how they need to change. They need to be different. They need to make it to where they can kind of get the attention of younger people and allow them to see that as great entertainment. Because that's kind of what a lot of companies now do today. I mean, if you think about so many other companies like Microsoft, Sony, or they try to stay in, you know, the times. For instance, they try not to become old-fashioned. They try to constantly change themselves to where, you know, the newer forms of entertainment, they can keep up with it. And so I felt like the way this episode was delivered was very tasteful because of that reason. It was very... It's controversial for some, because I know some might be against it with how Rakugo was trying to change its traditions, but sometimes I feel like traditions need to be changed for the form of keeping it alive. And when you had it to where Yakumo was actually saying you want to destroy Rakugo, he actually was making a very good point, because when you change something, it is like destroying it. Because let's say you change the outlook or the appearance of a product and it's gone for good, for instance Rakugo, and you change it to where it's no longer similar to how it used to be, of course you might as well be saying you're destroying it because you're making something new. And so in a way I understand both sides, but I am more inclined to be on Shin's side because he is way ahead of his time. In this time and age, Shin is thinking ahead. He's actually very smart and intelligent, and many people are putting him down thinking that he's wrong or he's stupid. And I mean, you go back probably like 100 years ago, or, you know, when TV was first becoming popular, there's probably people around that time that are thinking like, oh, there's no fucking way this little, you know, box can become popular in the future. I'm willing to bet you there's probably people like that. And seeing something like that, it makes a lot of sense how Shin is getting treated, because of, you know, how people are very skeptical, and they're like, nah, there's no way that this form of entertainment will become obsolete and people won't care about it. So I like the topic. This episode was really good on kind of diving into that. Now, getting off of that, let's get into the other core themes. Shin is in a hard spot with his life. And because of a lot of the things he's facing, he now is at the point where he doesn't know what he wants to do. He doesn't know if he wants to give up on Rakugo, if he wants to just leave, you know, the country, or just to go into the country and live peaceful days, and, you know, not ever doing entertainment again. And it makes me rather sad to see it, because it's a man that wants to help out. He wants to do something he loves, but people keep kicking him down and pushing him down the stairs, and that's exactly what was going on. And this episode opens a lot of our eyes to the main core theme that's also been going on besides what I just talked about. As we know, Bon is constantly throughout this series with these flashbacks, he's always thought he was inferior to Shin. He's like, I'm inferior, I can't catch up to him, he's so amazing at Rakugo, he's always one step ahead of me, I'm always trying to chase after him. That's what Bon constantly thinks. But then we get to see the perspective of Shin, and Shin says, you've always been the special, beloved child. You're always the one that gets pampered. You're always the one that gets looked at as if, oh, you're going to take on the Yakumo name. You're the person that is going to, get the attention of all the elders and people that are, constantly doing Rakugo and setting it up, the directors and stuff. And it's rather sad, because we never really saw it from Shin's perspective, because we know he was talented, and the way it constantly perceived him, he was a talented person that really... He was just misunderstood, and many people just couldn't understand how great he was. But now we see from his perspective, his emotions leak out, and he's like, I've always tried to be like you, Bon, but I can't. I can't be like you, because I'm like some form of, stray dog that was found on the side of the road, and nobody really cares about me, because I have no really good background, and it makes you sad. It really does. So seeing Shin like that, it made me sad, it hurt my heart, and I'm glad Mio, at the very least, is getting with him. So... now seeing that, I'm glad Mio gets with, Shin. He definitely deserves it. Now, speaking of Mio, she is now starting to fall in love with Shin. And as I already said a couple episodes ago when it came to the reviews, I'm like, it's obvious that eventually that bond's going to cause it to where his love with Mio is going to just fall apart, and then Mio's going to probably get with, Shin, they're going to have a child, which that's what we're seeing in this episode, and then you're going to have it to where Bond's going to be feeling very guilty or upset that he never chose that path with Mio, and he'll realize the error of his ways. And I feel like that's one of the main reasons why he kind of is upset with Shin in the future, like, the present day, how we saw him react to his old, brother. It makes a lot more sense now, the way he acts, because he knows that his brother was kind of right. He knows that Shin was correct about how Rakugo needs to change, and it's sad to see how this has slowly been built up to this very point. So yeah, the episode of Rakugo this week, very emotional, a lot of, meaning behind the scenes, and it continues to get better by the week. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.